Amethyst Ascension. So I've got a hashtag that I'm going to be doing. This one a little bit late on, but better late than never. This was created by my beautiful friend, Celina. It's halfway to Halloween. It's hashtag halfway to Halloween deck VR. Okay. And it is a total of 13 prompts. So I thought this was super fun. So I wanted to jump on the hashtag. And let's just dig right in. So the first question or prompt, and I will be putting all the prompts down below in the description, as well as leaving a link over to Celina's video. So please go and check that out if you have not already. So the first one is called The Deck That Feels Like October. What deck instantly gives you Halloween vibes, no matter the season? And for me, that's my a Gothic Tale Tarot. This is the borderless version that I sell over on Game Crafter. This is linen. I've taken the old stuff off of it, numbers and all that, and put new tags. That way I could extend it. But this always feels like October to me. It feels like Halloween time and shadows and shadow work and darkness and eerie stuff, you know? Oh, I love that. I do have a full walkthrough in my playlist. If I remember, I will put it down below, okay? I'll link down below. But my playlist, a lot of these are unlisted videos, but so you can get full walkthroughs. They're like linked to, you know, like my Game Crafter and stuff like that. So they come over if they want to see a full review and walkthrough of items. Like, look at that. Isn't that cool? I think it looks so much better since I have fixed the titles and stuff. So yeah, this is the deck. I do have different versions of it also, but this is the version on Game Crafter. Borderless and new updated tags. So it's the Gothic Tale Tarot. Now, the next question is soft, spooky deck. Which deck feels eerie, but still gentle, dreamy, or spring-like? And it is the Gothic Literature Tarot. So this feels eerie. It feels spooky. Very dreamy-like to me, just because of the artwork and the storyline behind it. And I'm trying to really keep this to more like, you know, that kind of aesthetic. Some of these I cannot, but for some of the questions, but the majority I'm trying to keep more in like a Halloween-y, dark half of the year kind of, you know, feelings or aesthetics. Isn't this gorgeous? Oh, I love this deck. The silver gilding, and then the back. Gorgeous. So yes, that would be my number 2 soft spooky deck. So the next prompt question is number 3, the Veil deck. What deck feels closest to the unseen spirit or the in-between? And I chose the Stone and Shadow Oracle by Ray Serafina Barker. I adore this deck. I also have their Rooted Remembrance tarot, which is absolutely stunning, and they look gorgeous together. But this one definitely feels like liminal, shadowy, mystery, all that. Dreamy, unseen, definitely to me. It's beautiful. Let me do one card so that you can hear how the book the book is small and simple but profound. Oh, so good. So good. All right. Ooh, it's so shadowy. The deep self. Let me find it right quick. All right. So the deep self. What we know of ourselves is only a sliver of a deeper well, shrouded in shadow, bottomless, from where we stand beneath, and intelligence watches and knows opening doors, orchestrating destinies, outside the jurisdiction and surveillance of the conscious mind to derail what carries us away from our fullness, dismantling any foundation too weak, too small to hold what our souls demand of this life. Oops, sorry. That's so good, isn't it? The deep self. Ooh. So that is my prompt for, but yeah, let me show you a few more of these because this deck is just amazing. Here's the backs. Phantom, Departure, Power, Enchantment, Haunting, Fate, Flame, Shadowlands, Guardian, Deliverance, Voyage, Presence, Sovereignty, The Watcher, oh my gosh, Life and Death, Summons, Descent. Oh, just look at that. Not only is the book awesome, the messages, the simple words, you can go so intuitively with that. Even with what's in the book, you can still go so intuitive with it because it's like poetry. It's just beautiful. But the images are so good. Oh. So yeah, that's my number 3. The Veil deck. So the next prompt is your most intuitive deck. This is, which deck do you trust the most without question? I mean, seriously, I trust a lot of the decks in my collection or I wouldn't be reading with them. But my most trusted, that I barely have to think about it, that I feel like it's speaking to me on a soul level, that my soul resonates with and recognizes, is the Light Seers. Most of you already know that if you've been here for a hot minute, right? This is the little tin version of it. And this is not really Halloween-y by any means, but it is that deck for me. And it always has been, and it always will be. I can't help it. It was an instant, I don't even know how to describe it. It was just instantaneous for me. And then when I read the books, because the artwork already had me. I love the artwork. I feel like the artwork is extremely expressive. So much action and movement and emotion. But then you put the book with it, yeah, it's just phenomenal. And the big book, right? The big book that you can buy separately. Phenomenal. So that would be my number 4, the most intuitive deck. So the next prompt is 5. Shadow work deck. What deck do you reach for when things get real, raw, and honest? And this is a new one for me. And it is the Unbound Tarot, a Lilith story. This is mine, my creation. I just finished creating the deck and book a few months ago, and then, working through all of the things that you need to in order to get it print ready and all that. So this is the version of the deck that is available on Game Crafter. It's not linen. I love this deck so much. It was definitely like a fever creation. It happened like really fast because so many, I got like so many visions and a download, and it just came to me, right? The direction that I wanted to go with this deck, it just came to me. And I've been working with Lilith for a couple of years now. And I do have, like I've said previously, I'm not a devotee. I'm pretty much like a devotee because she's on my altar and I work with her, once a week kind of thing. So, essentially without saying I'm devoted to her, I'm not. It's the energy I embrace, and it's about myself, right? It's about embracing that energy for myself, about being the most authentic, unapologetically authentic me. And this is also the deck for another prompt also. But, yeah, baby. Queen of Fire right there. This deck is like my pride and joy. Look at that devil. Yeah, look at all the fingers pointing to her and a demon or devil behind her on the wall. Because it's like that shadow of projection, of other people's projection of who she was in the story that was being told about her. I love this deck so much. This is most definitely what I turn to for shadow work also, because this book, now this is the big book. I've got walkthrough of these, but I've got 3 versions of this. Just really quick. I've got this version, which just has the smaller stuff, right? And 2 pages. So that's in a smaller print. I've got this version that has no pictures in it, other than just my black and white picture at the back. But it's the extended version, but no images. And so it's more cost effective. It's the least expensive one out of all of them. So it's the expanded black and white. But this is the main one that I work out of. And this book comes with 88 different spreads, which I want to read something to you. The Power of 88. Serpent Energy, Manifestation, and Completion. This guidebook contains 88 spreads. The number was not originally chosen with intention, yet as the work unfolded, it revealed a deeper symbolism that perfectly mirrors the energy of this deck and the journey of its creation. In numerology, the number 8 is associated with power, manifestation, abundance, and the ability to shape the material world through focused will. It represents the point where spiritual insight and physical reality meet. The symbol of the number 8, when turned sideways, becomes the infinity symbol. It is an eternal loop of creation, transformation, and renewal. This endless cycle is reflected in one of the oldest symbols of wisdom, the serpent. Across many cultures, the serpent represents awakening, hidden knowledge, and the life force that moves through all living things. Two serpents intertwined form a shape strikingly similar to the double helix of DNA, the spiral structure through which life itself is carried forward. In mystical traditions, this life force is known as Kundalini. It is the coiled serpent energy that rises through the body as consciousness awakens. Another ancient symbol of this eternal cycle is the Ouroboros, the serpent that circles back upon itself, devouring its own tail. It represents the endless process of death, rebirth, and transformation. The journey of Lilith throughout this deck reflects that same cycle. She leaves the garden, she awakens to her power, she reclaims her voice, she builds a new world. The completion of this guidebook and its 88 spreads echo that same serpent path. It is a spiral of transformation that returns to itself in a higher form. This carries a great significance for me because I walk a life path 8, a path traditionally associated with manifestation, leadership, and the ability to shape reality through conscious creation. I am a life path 8. Being born on the 16th day of a month also carries its own powerful symbolism. With this book having 88 spreads, it breaks down to 16. In tarot, the number 16 corresponds to the tower, the archetype of breaking false structures in order to reveal truth. In Lilith's story, this is the moment when imposed authority collapses and sovereignty is reclaimed. From that breaking point, the path of the 8 emerges. It is the rebuilding of one's life with intention and power. So when the number 8 is doubled, becoming 88, its energy expands. It represents amplified abundance, the infinite cycle of creation, and the manifestation of something lasting in the material world. Seen through the lens of serpent symbolism, the number 88 becomes a powerful reflection of the deck itself. 2 infinite spirals, 2 serpents intertwined, a cycle of destruction, rebirth, and creation. The completion of this book, the deck, and its spreads can therefore be seen not simply as the end of a project, but as the closing of a ritual circle. Invitation. Through this work, the story of Lilith becomes not only myth, but invitation. An invitation to reclaim sovereignty, awaken inner power, and consciously shape the world one chooses to create. Lilith speaks, and this is the final Lilith speaks in here. The serpent does not fear transformation, she becomes it. What was once broken becomes the path. What was once exile becomes sovereignty. And what was once hidden becomes the power to create a new world. So I feel like this is the ultimate for shadow work, because in each of the entries or cards, we have a large image, we have a breakdown, we've got an archetype, we've got the deacon information, all that for the card. We've got upright and shadow expression and meanings. We also have the astrological influences, and we have a spread for each card, a spread. So it can teach you even deeper. So if you're somebody that's just learning tarot for the first time, or even not, maybe if you just want to understand, sometimes if we draw a card a day, sometimes how does this show up in our energy? Or if you get one that just keeps coming up and you're like, why does this keep coming up? There is a spread to show you what this archetype could mean, right? And then a Lilith speaks, the horizon is not a boundary. It is an invitation for this card, right? And then there's an unbound vow. These are kind of like affirmations, but they're more like powerful reclamations, more or less like spoken from Lilith. How would she empower herself again? These are all about empowerment. And then also seats of power. There's a primary and a secondary chakra. So where you might feel, even beyond this, even beyond empowerment messages, even beyond a personal message, and shadow and upright, it tells you where this might sit in your energy centers. And what does that mean? because those take on different meanings also. So it's just a really deep look into it. And then the other spreads are like the Serpent Bearer spread, which is Ophiuchus, and then also a Black Moon Lilith, which is also very shadowy in astrology. So on top of, there's 8 more spreads in the back. But it is a huge deck for shadow work and reclaiming your own inner voice and knowing what your own inner voice is. It helps you break all that down. So, yes, this is my deck. This is my shadow work deck right now. Although I have tons of decks that I could use for shadow work. So the next prompt, sorry that I went on so long about that, but that is my passion right now. The next prompt is the deck that gives you chills. This deck has an energy that makes you pause or feel something deeper. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of decks that do that for me too. But this is one of the newest ones that I got. I won it in a giveaway off of Instagram that Naya House did. And so, because I don't have the big book, and I really didn't want the big book because I wanted to put my own meanings of what I was feeling on these. And this is kind of why it gave me the chills. So for a couple of days, I really went through and I examined the cards really well. And with what I was feeling, what I've been feeling. And I put my own words on each of the cards. And I did it just in the black and white. And I love it. It gives me, this artwork gave me the chills. But being able to just really scan an image to find out how I felt about that particular card, you know, and what it evoked in me, it gave me the chills. So if you have this deck, maybe do this for yourself if you want. I'm sorry, you probably can't even see what I put on them. That was necromancy, break free, rise up, messenger, acceptance, legacy, feelers, like putting all your feelers out, you know, inner light, past life karma, unity, abundance, narrative, ego-driven, convoluted, death. That's the only one that had any words on it. Truth, perspective, reciprocity. Now, I will say, I did see the book, and I thought about getting the book, but I'm like, I can't really afford it right now anyways, and I wanted to be able to use these cards now, and so I just thought, I'm just going to put my own stuff on it, and then go from there. So healing and rotation, release, remembrance, be confident, nonlinear, Aries, chaotic, activation, entanglement, intention, self-love, empathic, awareness, middle path perception, and the astral, spirit guide. You see the dragon there? Exposed, cunning, creative energy. So yeah, it would be, this is my deck for what was that, number 6? The deck that gives you the chills. And it was, which deck has an energy that makes you pause or feel something deeper? It really made me pause to go through it and put my own meanings to it. It was highly therapeutic. So that was my number 6. Okay, so the next prompt is number 7. Your October deck. It says already picked with, like, big eyes, like, have you already picked it? It says, if you had to choose right now, what deck will you definitely use this Halloween season? And this is one of them that I definitely want to use this Halloween. Halloween for me, that time of year, is definitely about being haunted. It's about the thrill of, like, that's when I watch more horror flicks. That's when I want to be scared. You know, it's the excitement of it. But also, it is also a time of, necromancy and reaching out with, tarot or whatever, oracle, to my ancestors or to ghosts in general, spirit activity, and see what comes up. So I just thought that this would be super cool. This feels like a perfect, even for like a haunting kind of, figure out a mystery kind of fun event with the girls. Just fiction. But a fictional fun event. This could be a really cool deck for doing that. Is that not the coolest deck? Clairvoyant, openness, listening. The recluse. Night Road. Rougarou, right? Oh my gosh. Conjured Spirit. Oh. Crescent Portal. Gray Man. Mystery Room. Yeah. Ghost Garden. Oh yeah. What fun is that? So yeah, the Haunts deck is definitely my, if I don't get to it before that, it's most definitely being pulled out at Halloween. Yeah. By Stacey Williams and G. And it's part of the Southern Gothic trilogy, which I do have the other two as well. All right, so the next one is the deck that reflects you right now. It's the deck that feels like mirrors your current energy of life phase. And of course, it's still the Unbound Tarot, a Lilith story guidebook. I'm not going to go through and show you all again. It's that deck and book. So the next one is the most transformational deck. What deck has changed your perspective, practice, or growth the most? And it's this one. I have 6 different aesthetics for this deck. They might be in the back here, but it's the Matrix deck. Yeah, these are the 6 different versions. I've got the vintage Victorian, I've got the steampunk, the fantasy, the shabby, the gothic, which I'm going to show you here, and then the whimsical. And I've got a few different forms of the book, just for aesthetics. Those are available on Amazon. This is Make Playing Cards. I do have a smaller bridge version that's available over on Game Crafter. But the Matrix deck and the Book of Secrets were transformational for me. It took me 2 years to write the book, and the concept was easy. The deck, that came very easy. And even the artwork is super easy because it's just numbers and letters, right? And the way that it can be used. It's the system that has been transformational for me, because it can be used in many different ways. It's got numerology in here for both Chaldean and Pythagorean, depending on what type that you use. Each entry, other than the numbers, but all of the words and the letters, they have a Chaldean number value for the word and a Pythagorean number value for each word. And then a whole write-up about it, what it could mean if you get this card, and also spreads. There are tons of spreads in this as well. This book, I can't remember how many spreads altogether. I think 61 spreads in this book, I think. But this was transformational for me. This is what I believe are reality. It comes down to my magic. It comes down to everything is all in this book. So if you want to get an inside view of what you think my mind looks like, it's kind of all in here, okay? So this is the deck that has it really opened me up. I had the deck done quite a long time before I had the book done. The whole concept. It was just writing each entry for each of the cards. That's what took me the longest. So, but yes, it's the Matrix deck and its companion Book of Secrets guidebook. You know, I want to go back because there was another deck that I definitely wanted to pull out for October and for Halloween also, and this was gifted to me. I had it here, but I forgot because I didn't write it on my little list. I pulled it out afterwards. Oracle of the Witch's Candle. So I am cheating. I've got more than one entry. Hang on. But this was such a beautiful gift from Celina, the creator of this tag. And I love this artwork so much. I love the concept of the construction of this, more or less, the system, right? And I love the little words. It's a win-win. I love everything. I love the red gilding. The book is beautiful. So this is also another one that I want to start in or work with if I haven't already by October and Halloween. So the next prompt, number 10, is comfort deck. Which deck feels safe, grounding, and like a spiritual exhale? I'm going back to basics here. This is another one that I have loved for a very long time. It's another one of my soul decks. This is Everyday Witch by Deborah Blake and Elizabeth Elba. This was a very pivotal deck for me as well, and it feels like kind of like coming home, you know? I love the book, the write-ups, my copy. I've had to redo the edging a few times because, oh, you know, I haven't pulled it out in a while, but back in the day, this was definitely one of my go-to decks. I love this deck. Gosh, I say this all the time. I re-fall in love with all of my decks when I'm doing these kind of videos, hashtags, right? There is just not enough time in the day to work with all of my... I'm so grateful. I have such an extensive collection, and I'm grateful for that. I have always got something to do and something to fall back on if I ever needed to with being a tarot reader, right? Love this deck. Let's give it a couple of shuffles. Yes. This is also one of the reasons that I fell in love with this deck and Llewellyn decks, because their cardstock. Their cardstock is so amazing, okay? And I know they've changed it a few times, but I have never been disappointed with Llewellyn decks. Not the ones that I have. I have maybe, I don't know, maybe 20 Llewellyn tarot decks. Maybe more, I'm not sure. So yeah. Oh, yes. This is definitely like coming home and comfort to me. Look at her. I mean, it's such a cliche deck, but it's just like everything. This artwork is amazing. The book is amazing. This was just a pivotal deck for me. Yeah. Okay, so the next one, admittedly, this is also not like a theme for Halloween, but it does feel very much like a protective, powerful deck. Let me get to the prompt for you. The next prompt is prompt 11, protection energy deck. You know what? I think I'm going to change my mind. No, I think I'll just add another one. 1 second. Okay, this is one I was thinking about earlier. This particular deck, I have the second one and the third one. I don't have the first one. I was devastated. I really wanted the first one. I loved the black and white. But this is the first run of the Revelations deck, and it was 555 was my number. I had even done some tarot round. You know, this is when I was doing like my weekly like drawings and stuff, or readings for myself. And I got 555 and I didn't understand what that meant. Well, it was that week that this deck came in. And I had also done a video, or had also answered a spread question that she had put in, I think Benabel one, saying these are the cards that I got. How many decks do you think I'm going to sell from the number that I put on that? And I said 3,500. And it ended up being 3,507 for that run. It was just very, this deck, I mean, she even did like, and you can still smell it. How many years ago did I get this? Like 4 years ago, maybe? I can't remember, but she did, Benabel one, that is. She did like a protection, like spell over all of the decks. She anointed each one individually, and I can still smell the anointing on this deck after all these years. Okay, but she's also got shields in here. Let me see if I can find them. Okay, I wanted to show you. So there's shields. We've got the ebony shield. We've got the scarlet shield. The ivory shield. And the golden shield. If I remember right, these are all the queens. And then we've got all the archangels. Archangels of mysteries. Archangel of glory. Archangel of healing, and Archangel Commander. These are all the kings, if I remember right. Look at even our high priestess is Sanctuary of Isis. The healer, the star card, is Gifts of the Spirit. I mean, yeah, I mean, even the different Fool cards. We've got the Initiate, the Seeker, and the Keeper. This deck is a whole protected spell in itself, and each card is a spell and protectors and working with the spirit world. Hence the name Spirit Keepers Tarot. Just a masterpiece of a deck, okay? And I know that she's also coming out with, eventually, what's the name of it? No, I can't remember. But it's a different, an Atea. And it's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. So I want to get that deck when it comes out too, because her decks are masterpieces. And then on top of that, the books, oh my gosh, just everything, okay? Just absolutely everything. So this one feels like it is a protection energy deck. It is a, give me a second. Oh, the joys of furry parenthood. It is that, what is it? A deck that feels highly protective, shielding, and or energetically strong. Oh my goodness, yes. And the anointment that she put on this, and I can't remember what year this was. I'm sure many of you who are in watching, what year did this come out? Was it, I don't know, it was when I was still doing like paper journaling. Oh my gosh, maybe 5 years ago. I don't know, a long time ago. Not like long time ago, but amazing deck, right? Amazing. And so the other deck that I was going to do that also feels like really strong, initiatory, very powerful deck is this one, the Priestess Oracle. And there are like light codes on each of the backs of the cards and on each of the cards. This feels so empowering. This deck feels so empowering and like personal little portals for each one of them. And I bet you that these two would actually go good together. Yes. Oh my gosh. I bet you they would. So again, Celina, I'm sorry I had to cheat again and I put 2 decks in here, but I was just going to do this one, but really, this one feels like the ultimate protection deck with the shielding and the archangels and it is a living spell. This deck is a living spell and it's a masterpiece. And yeah. So that was I think that was prompt 11. Okay, so the next prompt was number 12, underrated or hidden gem deck. Show a deck that you don't talk about enough, but you should. And I'm thinking in terms of Halloween again, right? And it's the Gothic Tarot, illustrated by Joseph Vargo. My copy has been cut down and edged in a red. I didn't like the big borders on it. I know a lot of people have the Bohemian, the Gothic Bohemian. I just did not care for that artwork. There was something about it. I just didn't mesh with that. I didn't, some of the faces on there just, yeah, I don't know. But I do like Baba Studio decks, don't get me wrong. Just that particular deck, every time I looked at it and I had opportunities to get it, I just could not do it. And this, I just absolutely, I love the artwork. And it reminds me of Bohemian Gothic, but with better artwork. And please don't come at me. It's just a matter of preference, right? But I think this one is really underrated, especially once you take the borders off of it. Oh, I think it's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And I think it is a perfect deck for also Halloween time, right? Let's face it. It's always Halloween time, right? Any time of the year is appropriate for Halloween time. I would really love to. And this room is kind of like Halloween, all year long, but I wouldn't mind getting a black, like, tree and decorating it, you know, and just leaving it up all year long kind of thing. So, anyways, that is the Gothic Tarot deck. And I love it. I think it's, I don't see tons of people talking about it. And I just adore this deck, right? And I think it's perfect for Halloween, or anytime really. And there was another deck that I think is a hidden gem. It's a newer one. And I don't think tons of people talk about this one because it is definitely like conspiracy theory. But oh yeah, this is a gem. An absolute gem. I love this deck so much. Daniel Martin Diaz decks are everything to me. I do have the most recent that he sent me. I actually got it, where is it? A couple of weeks ago. And I've done the walkthrough. It's probably not going to be for another week or so on my channel, but that's the Tarot Marseille Antiquarian Edition. Gorgeous. Love it. But yeah. Love it. I love this. Yes. With everything that goes on social media and conspiracy theories, this is just right up my alley. It is a gem in my collection, without a doubt. Granted, all of his decks are a gem in my collection, but yeah. And then the very last prompt, number 13, is the deck that you feel called to right now. What deck is quietly calling your name lately, even if you don't know why? Okay, this has been calling my name ever since I got it. It's the Grim Tales Tarot. I think it is a stunning deck. I feel like I'm never going to get over it. It's always going to be calling to me. Everything about this deck, to me, is like perfection. I love the artwork. I love the little book. I love that he doesn't talk about, I've got the Grim Tales. I've got Grim Tales book upstairs. No, hang on. What I was going to say is that I have a Grim Tales book, illustrated edition. Okay, sorry, I got a phone call. But yes, this is the Grimm's Fairy Tales book. And what I was saying about this is I love that it also doesn't tell you the actual fairy tale. It doesn't tell you the Grimm Tales, but it's made in that kind of fashion. But as a storyteller myself and somebody that loves to use tarot to tell stories, this is the perfect deck for storytelling, for adventures, for that kind of stuff, like the Grimm Tales would elicit, right? I adore this deck. I know it's never going to come out of my system because it's just everything. This is just like the pinnacle of it. And I love this. This is Arthur Rackham art, like the Arthur Rackham Tarot. And I love his artwork. And it feels... so what I'm trying to say is if I want the actual fairy tales, I can just pick up this book, and read through it. And maybe it might be kind of fun to see which ones that are in this book and the pictures that closely resemble some of the stories to find out, like the inspiration behind it, right? But this is a gorgeous book. Very cool. So yes, Celina, thank you. This has been so much fun. Listen, I was going to do your other hashtag, the life list, and oh, that was just really hard. I tried going through the list a few different times, and that's really hard for me to put it down to one or two decks because on a lot of those questions, I don't really even attribute with my decks. So I was going to do them both in this, but I'm sorry, I couldn't. It became too difficult for me. So, but I have very much enjoyed this. I hope to see other people doing this as well. It's never too late. Come on, is it ever too late to talk about Halloween and to pull out these decks? I mean, it's always Halloween for me, right? The season of the witch. Right. So thank you for spending this time with me. And I will put the links down below and the prompts down below. And I am sending you my love always.